I have always had a serious question, and internally I used to laugh at it because the European economy compared to the European economy, the American economy, the British economy, Japanese, everything. The Indian economy is, as a GDP, it has come out to the fore. I agree on that point. But when you compare the market, when I say market, share market in which finance market, I think India, in Tamil we used to call the word jujubi. Is it that we are that small, or are we so well integrated with the world market, and that anything that shakes the world market is going to shake the Indian market? That is how the presentations are coming in all the finance newspapers. I feel that we are not that relevant in the financial world in the market. I could like to stand corrected.
Okay, you have to go back to a bit of history on this because knowing your economic clout is always only in relative terms, like you also said, comparing one economy with the other. So, if we go back some 5,000 years, we were possibly 30-40% of the world economy. And prior to the Mughal invasion of India, we were at possibly 25-30% of the world economy. And prior to the British rule in India, we were still about 20-25% of the world economy. And when the British left us, we were at less than 1% of the world economy. So from there, we have possibly today come to 4.5-5% of the world economy. So would we ever go back to that 25-30%? It's a resounding no. Are we irrelevant today because we are so small? I don't think so, for the simple reason, like I said, our economy is insulated to a large extent from the world economy because we are self-sufficient in food.
Sure.
And even if tomorrow the oil taps were shut off, you and I can't drive a car, but 100 or possibly a billion people won't matter. It won't matter to them because they are busy, happy with their cycles and just walking around. Your planes will not fly, so you can't just get around the country and have meetings every 2 hours. You will have to take a horse cart or something or cycle to the next destination. It will take you 3 weeks. So jokes apart, our economy, like I told you, is in 4 segments. So who will get hurt the most? It is the 300 million people who are also the consumer today who will feel the pinch. The remaining 1.1 billion will have some problems because logistically speaking, the oil that we have will only cater to the food market and possibly a little bit of something else, but nothing beyond that. So if somebody in a village wants to go and see his children somewhere else, it's no longer going to be possible unless everybody manages to get a seat in the train. And we already know the trains are overcrowded. So we are not irrelevant simply because we are largely self-sufficient. If, however, we were not self-sufficient but dependent on the world for every second item, then automatically we would have a power. Because to sell to us, those countries would be willing to bend backwards to make sure that we remain their customer and not shift our loyalties to another person. So that economic hegemony automatically comes from that. And you're seeing it play out today in the US. The only reason Trump is able to push through his tariffs is because practically every country is dependent on some exports to the US. Now, surprisingly, for all the hullabaloo in India about the tariffs on India, less than 0.8% of my GDP is impacted by American exports. So I can happily sacrifice the whole lot, not even jot a blink an eye, and just go on to the next. But for that section of the society which is engaged in that 0.8% of the GDP trade in with respect to US, their economic life is shattered. So I believe just because I do not depend on the world for a lot of my consumption or my needs, I am not irrelevant. I remain relevant only because a lot of the world is now looking to me to see how they can stop being dependent on other countries and how they can become Atmanirbhar.
Okay. So would you say that this FTA, recently in today's newspaper it has come that is going to look at a $10 trillion opportunity the FTA with the EU is going to happen. That 10 trillion. Now, frankly speaking, I'm a doubtful Johnny always. So 10 trillion, even you make it, say 1%, 10% of it equal to 1 trillion. That's a huge kick to our economy. Will our economy be able to, I would say even next 2 years, this 1 trillion trickles in. I don't know whether it's going to, but if it, do you think that we will be able to stand the stress of that kind of money flowing into India?
No, I
because
don't,
we don't have the production capacity to absorb that money.
No, I don't think this 10 trillion figure is for any particular year. I think it is the entire 30, 40 years of the FTA that they are looking for so much of trade, because
Yes.
the initial impact is only some $5 to $10 billion incremental.
Oh,
That
okay.
is on the existing business with the EU. We are going to add another 5 to 10 billion. That's it. So what they are expecting over the lifetime of the FTA may be $10 trillion, and that is nothing, because when you look at the targets that India is set to achieve over the next 10, 20 years with respect to its own economy, this kind of figures would be surpassed way before even the FTA terms are over.
Oh, okay. So, but, if we are able to, bring in that type of economy into India, that I would say that, okay, during a burst, and we get $1 trillion in 3 years. Will the Indian economy be able to absorb the $300 billion? Is it possible?
It is easily possible, because
Will the economy, the what do you call the financial crisis, because the inflation, I don't know what's going to happen because of $300 billion.
No, I don't think that's a big issue, because if you look at what the government has done on the infrastructure space in the last 12 years, they have spent $4 trillion.
4 trillion, yeah, okay. So
And
300 billion is not a very big amount. Okay.
I mean, okay,
Yeah.
if you divide 4 trillion by 12, it comes to your 330 billion a year.
Yes.
So absorbing 300 billion additional in production, I don't think it's going to do much to the economy from the inflation point of view or anything, because it is going into a direct productive asset which is going to largely export.
Okay.
If there is a local consumption for it, well and good. Like Apple manufacturing, it exports, but then there's a decently good enough market in India. So Apple is not going to sit and cry that it is selling in India. They are very happy they are selling in India. So if somebody else tomorrow, let us say Raytheon comes and sets up some radar systems or something like that, and the Indian government itself says, okay, we'll buy it, why would they say no? So for us to absorb this kind of money should not cause any problems.
Would that mean that you said there are 4 sectors, 4 PPPs? Now, there is one 300 billion which is trying to move into the next 300 billion, which are the. Now, the other 300 million, out of the next 300 million, maybe 30 million go above.
Correct.
The super rich.
This movement is happening.
So when you look at the 300 million moving, each of 300 million, let's say 100 million move into the upper middle class or the middle class level. Don't you think so that we require more services, more production, more value-added goods?
It is symptomatic of any economy growing at that level, because as the spending power increases, demand for goods and services will increase. So previously, if we were looking for a budget hotel, we don't mind going for a 3-star.
Okay.
A 3-star fellow won't mind going for a 5-star.
5-star.
So as this happens, you're already seeing it. I mean, the flight ticket rates as the date closer to the flight happens, prices go from 6,000 to 20,000. You don't need to pay that. So this is a natural progression of any economy growing up.
So when we look at the 300 million moving to the next, at least 100 million moving to the next 5 years, I give 5 years. It may be longer, but I'm giving 5 years. I think that we will have a more stronger economy.
It is getting stronger every year. It's getting stronger every year because we have a government which is committed to its budget deficits.
So when the economy gets stronger, we are not going to be very much worried about the decline in the dollar value. We are only worried about the exports part of it, or imports of items which slowly depend on the dollar. Other than that, if we get into a basket of currencies methodology,
which we currently use,
we will be able to be on a better wicket shortly.
Yeah, that's what I said. Like I said, I have good faith in the stewardship of the RBI amongst all the central banks in the globe. I've been quite happy with the way the RBI has managed an economy like India's, where predominantly we are a poor nation for a very, very long time, and with bad stewardship at the political side for a very, very long time. So that they have managed this without us becoming a banana republic or a handout case like Pakistan. It shows you that people of metal have been sitting in the institution.
There's a resilience within us to survive.
Exactly. So I personally believe that we are in the right space. We are in the right direction. Of course, somebody would like to go in the fifth gear, and we may be going in the second gear. Can't do much about it. We are a democracy.
Okay, thank you very much. It's been great, interesting talking to you. So I think we can get another session some other day.
Thank you, CK.
Okay, thank you. Bye.